Welcome to the lecture series of Managerial Economics. This session is typically made for exam preparation. So in this session, I discussed most important questions which you can expect for the forthcoming examination. So I have segregated each questions according to module. Coming to first module, it is an introduction part of Managerial Economics. You will be able to find out these questions in the forthcoming examination. First question is define managerial economics and explain the nature and scope of managerial economics. Coming to the definition, it's an application of economic principle to the business decision making. Decision making is very important. So you are applying the economic principle to take a wise decision in the domain of business. What is the nature of economics? Microeconomics in approach, normative in nature and pragmatic. If I talk about the scope of managerial economics, it's a demand analysis, cost and production pricing, forecasting, business environment, then capital budgeting. These points can be considered as a scope. Regarding another question, what are the role of managerial economics? Forecast demand and supply, analyze the cost pricing, then advise the investment and perform the capital budgeting and policy analysis and follow the government regulation, taxes, etc. These are the major roles of managerial economics. It is better you can explain these particular points because depends on the marks you have to elaborate it. What are the objectives of the firm? That is another question. First one is traditional. Of course, every ultimate objective of the goal is to increase the profit and reduce the cost. That means profit maximization is the major role of every organization. Other one is actually modern, in the modern era, sales maximization. So it's a Bumoll model. Similarly, growth maximization, marriage concept. Similarly, managerial discretion, that is Williamson concept. Okay. So according to these models, these are the ultimate objective. Correct. You try to elaborate these objectives accordingly. Okay. Now coming to the unit number 2, explain law of demand and exceptions with examples. For example, if I talk about law of demand, when price reduces, demand increases. Try to draw the waveforms as well. Also give some simple examples. You can visit my lecture series. Exceptions, given paradox. Similarly, Veblen goods, then necessities, future expectations. Even during war and all, we cannot follow the law of demand. And exceptions and all, we can mention accordingly. What are the different type of elasticity? Price elasticity, income elasticity, cross elasticity, and promotional elasticity. Try to follow these equations as well. Promotional elasticity includes effect of advertising. Okay. Similarly, you may get another type of questions, uses of elasticity in business. What are the uses? One is price decision, another one is taxation, substitute strategy, and export and policy. So these are the major uses of elasticity in business. So what is demand forecasting method? Survey method, consumer survey, and the expert opinion. Statistical method, it is actually trend projection and regression. Time series formula. So we can go for like a y is equal to a plus bx as a formula as that of straight line. Then problem type, price elasticity, demand forecasting, etc. Okay, so we can explain demand forecasting method. I prepared the detailed video. If you want, you can visit once. Similarly, law of variable proportion. What do you mean by law of variable proportion? Uh, like uh, for short run, one variable will be considered as an input. So there are different stages. One is increasing return, then diminishing returns, and negative returns. These are the different stages of law of variable proportion. You can explain the law of variable proportion with the suitable examples and the graph. What do you mean by return to the scale? For the long run, all inputs will be getting varied. For example, the different types of returns of the scale is increasing return, constant return, decreasing return. This particular video also I have done already. Coming to the unit number 3, cost and the production analysis. Explain the concept of cost. There are different type of cost available. One is fixed cost, salaries, rent, etc. Other one is called variable cost, raw material. It depends on the requirement. Total cost is nothing but fixed cost plus variable cost. Average cost is the ratio of TC by Q. Then marginal cost, it is a ratio of delta TC by delta Q change. Okay. Another important question is, what do you mean by break-even analysis? So, like break-even point is the ratio of fixed cost by SP minus VC. SP means VC means variable cost. Okay. Similarly, margin of safety, sales minus BEP sales. What do you mean by margin of safety? That also you have to introduce. Later, you have to explain the formula, the uses of break-even analysis, pricing, planning, profit, etc. The main drawbacks are it is assumed, we need to assume that it's a linear cost revenue. So you may get a numerical example also. So that is regarding the break-even analysis. You may get the graph, you can draw the graph and you can explain. Coming to the unit number 4, it is perfect competition. Define perfect competition. What are the peculiarity of perfect competition? In perfect competition, the features are large buyers and seller. There are homogeneous products and a free entry and exit. That is called a perfect competition. So price will be determined at marginal MR is equal to MC. Marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. That is a peculiarity of perfect competition. What do you mean by monopoly? Explain the concept of monopoly. A single seller, not substitute price. Only one person is going to decide the price. Okay, because only one particular people they are going to sell. They are going to capture the market. For example, Indian Railway, you can see. Price discrimination includes like charging different prices for the same product. Okay, this is regarding monopoly. Coming to the unit number 4, there are few more questions. What is monopolistic competition? The features of monopolistic combinations are there are so many sellers, differentiated product, non-price competition, advertising as well as branding. What is oligopoly? Features are few seller with interdependence. That is called oligopoly market. Examples are kinked demand curve. You have to focus on the kinked demand curve and you can explain. Similarly, cartels and the price leadership. So explain the pricing approaches. Loss leader pricing, peak load pricing, and the transfer pricing. These are the pricing approaches. Okay, explain the concept of pricing approach. Similarly, unit number 5, that is regarding Indian business environment. So business environment, there are two type of environment. One is external environment, other one is internal environment. If I talk about external environment, political factors, economic factor, legal factor, social factor, and a global factor should be considered. If I talk about internal factors, structure of the organization, hierarchy, culture, resources, etc., will be considered. So that is regarding the business environment. If I talk about like a role of SMEs in Indian economy, what are the roles of SMEs in Indian economy? One is they contribute, of course, gross domestic product. They contribute for the export and creating the employment opportunity. Small and medium scale industries are very important. Challenges facing by SMEs are finance, technology, then competition. These are the major challenges because they are not that much of like MNCs. Similarly, from the unit number 5, you can expect few more questions. What do you mean by fiscal policy? Depends on the how much amount of government spending for the taxes. Government spending that is equal to taxes. That is actually you have to explain about the fiscal policy. Then expenditure, more spending, less taxes. Similarly, contradictory, less spending, more taxes. So these are the different subset of fiscal policy. So what do you mean by monetary policy objectives? To control the inflation, to manage the employment, and ultimately to maintain the interest rate stability. That is also important. So that is regarding monetary policies and objectives. Unit number 6 is belong to industrial policy. So here, a new industrial policy 1991 postulates you have to explain. So it includes liberalization, privatization, globalization in the year of 1991. What is PLI scheme? It includes incentives of telecommunication, networking, electronics, and manufacturing. That is called the PLI scheme. Explain PLI scheme. What are the statements of PLSA scheme? What is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan? It is a self-reliance approach put forward by Indian government. Domestic and manufacturing, startup and infrastructure will be given more support. So other one is recent government. What are the recent government initiative? Make in India, Startup India, Digital India. These are the recent advancement and initiative by the Indian government. Similarly, you have to remember these formulas. Kindly BEP formula, what is MOS percentage, forecasting trend. Remember this particular formula. It will be helpful for solving the problems. So in this session, I discussed about important questions and answer with respect to each module. So these are the questions which I identified according to previous year question papers. So you can see the pattern and prepare accordingly. Surely you can clear the subject without any issue because 90% of these questions will be 80% at least you can expect it. These questions will be asked on the examination. In parallel, I request you to solve the numerical example based upon the formula which I given at last. Practice the elaborate it more because these points are good enough, not good enough to get good, Only if you write these points, you may not get that much expected marks. So I request everybody for you try to elaborate it each points more. So that will be easy for you people. So that will be getting more STPA. So it will helpful for your placement drives. So I wanted to ask you one thing. If you have any queries, kindly ask with me through comment box. You can mail me. So I'm very happy to answer back. I wish you all the very best for your exam point of view, especially in the project because it's very crucial. And you can try to elaborate. Okay, you can try to elaborate these points for your um, examination as well as project. Apart from that interview, apart from this point, I can suggest you for the good interviews also. I wish you all the very best for your exams and project. Happy learning. Wish you all the very best and clear the interview. You can clear the interview if you study these tips. Of course, these basic questions will be asked in the interview also, and even it will be helpful for Viva. I happy learning. Kindly request you to share this video with the stakeholders. If you are watching our channel first time, I request you to subscribe. Thank you all.